That's an amazing statement, given the fact that we just made history in the state of Missouri. Governor Nixon is now the most overridden governor ever in the state of Missouri. And the bills that were overridden today are significant because they're significantly positive for all the residents of the state of Missouri. We started off today with one of the members of the governor's own party challenging the governor on his unconstitutional, unlawful withholding from education, which the governor has attacked for the 5 years that he's been in office. He is the only elected official in our state that has consistently gone after education funding time and time again. And now we saw it on full display. And I was really excited to see a member of the governor's own party call him out on his illegal, unconstitutional withholds. And as in Chris Kelly's words, abuse of power. What did we do today on that first vote? We put money back into the education system here in the state of Missouri so kids and children can have more opportunities. $1 million back into education in the state that the governor unconstitutionally and illegally withheld. So that was the first bill we started on, and it just got better from there. Other significant, substantial bills were the fact that we passed the No Pay, No Play bill, which has been one of the #1 priorities, not just here in Missouri, but nationwide for the insurance industry. And why is that? It's going to reduce accidents on our highways. It is going to lower insurance premiums for all of the consumers, all of the hard-working Missourians here in the state. I think that's a huge positive step. In addition, let's see here. The Doe Run bill, House Bill 650. That is a bill that, unfortunately, because of Jay Nixon's veto, he basically vetoed over 1,500 jobs that the Missouri House and Senate have now restored into southeast Missouri. So Jay Nixon has had no jobs plan. He's had no jobs agenda the last 5 years he's been in office, except for giving targeted tax credit breaks to some of his special friends and supporters. We today helped an entire region of the state, a region that's really suffering for jobs, dealing with a problem that was not going to go away. The Doe Run situation has just been languishing for years, and it was the Missouri House and the Missouri Senate, again, in a bipartisan fashion. Large number of Democrats joined us to create jobs in a significant part of the state. I could go on and on and on. The agricultural bill. Jay Nixon vetoed a bill, and Jay Nixon stood against agriculture this summer. Instead, the Missouri House and Senate stood up in a huge bipartisan fashion and easily overrode a bill that all of the commodity groups, agribusiness still being the #1 industry in the state of Missouri, they will benefit from that. So the Missouri House and Senate stood up in a positive way for agriculture. There's other bills of significance, 10 in total. This is historic. It might be historic for the nation, I'm not sure. It's definitely historic for our state. The last governor who was overridden in one session was Governor Holden. He had 3 overrides. We had 10 today. So it's historic. It shows that Jay Nixon leads from behind, that Jay Nixon does not participate in the legislative process, that Jay Nixon largely occupies the second floor and doesn't bother to talk to the General Assembly. Members of either side, we overrid a bill that Jay Nixon vetoed of a Democratic senator, Maria Chappelle Nadal, who happens to be a friend of mine. From the city of St. Louis, county of St. Louis, a bill that will make the ability for local jurisdictions to hold meetings in a better fashion. So he even stood against members of his own party, and members of his own party, again, both in the House and in the Senate, stood up today and said, that's enough. Jay Nixon needs to participate more in the legislative process. And I'm really happy that today the Missouri House and Senate showed that we will govern wherever Governor Nixon fails to do so.
Now, the last 2 bills, the Nieves bills, both failed. Is there any particular reason why you think they were close but didn't make it? Was it because of the bills, or was it because people were tired, or was it because people were ticked off with Nieves? This is SB 265.
The only thing I heard throughout the day was that the governor's people were working very, very hard in the hallways and working on members of both sides of the aisle, making I heard all sorts of claims. I don't want to speculate as to what the governor's minions were doing down here, but I think during the day they wore some members down, and we did lose a couple bills along the way. But again, the bills that were passed were significant because they're good government, they're good policy, they're going to help improve the lives of Missourians in many different respects. And no one predicted we would achieve such a historic mark. I don't know if that mark will ever be reached again. 10 overrides against a governor who has largely been disengaged from the legislative process the last 5 years he's been in office.
On the income tax cut bill, you came up 15 votes short. What other changes does it look like you can make for next session? You said that you're going to bring it up. Presumably, the sales tax exemption will not be taken out. What other changes could be made in order to entice 15 more votes?
Well, I'm very disappointed that the bill did not pass today, but I'm encouraged by the fact that the question is, do we have a strong governing majority in both the House and the Senate that want to provide broad-based tax relief for all Missourians? Yes, we obviously do. We have well over 82 votes in the House. Even today. Today was the hardest tax cut vote that this General Assembly will ever take. And we still had 94, 95 votes. And we had I think I don't know if there's a supermajority in the Senate on this bill. They didn't get the opportunity, but it's probably pretty close to it as well. So we have a strong governing majority that wants to provide broad-based tax relief for all Missouri's families, farmers, and small businesses. And in his election campaign last year, Governor Nixon said that he stood for reducing tax burdens, a balanced budget, cutting government spending. And if you talk to Democrats or Republicans, as I have done all across the state in the last several years, there's not a person I run into that doesn't say that government can do more with less, that the people spend their money better, that when you put money back into commerce and into businesses in the state of Missouri, they'll grow the economy. We've seen it in all the bordering states around us that are seeing more and more dollars flow into their budgets after they have cut taxes. So we'll take stock of all of the issues that were brought forth this veto session. I think a lot of them can be addressed, like the retroactivity issue, like the pharmacy tax exemption, which was the result of the governor's own drafting error, and some of the other items. And we'll do as best we can to work towards having that supermajority number during session this time. And perhaps we won't have to be here next year. We can get it done actually in the regular session.
Now, what about 436, which you got through, but it did die in the Senate by 2 votes? Anything you want to say about that?
I honestly don't know what happened over there. I had presumed that the Senate would continue along the policy that they have shared with us up until this time in the House of doing everything we can to protect Missourian Second Amendment rights from federal encroachment and overreach, which we've seen, it's been unparalleled in the last few years. So I do not know what dynamic caused that vote to go down. I think it's unfortunate that it did, but again, Second Amendment rights will continue to be an important part of this General Assembly. But I think our first priority next year will be to create jobs and to move this economy forward. And that's going to be, part of that will be providing tax relief for all Missourians.
Regarding the press release you sent out this afternoon, do you really want the governor to call a special session to deal with the bills that did not get overridden?
No, I wanted it for the bills that do get overridden. For the bills that do get overridden. I think the governor made a lot of statements that were misrepresentative of the facts. And there was a lot of fear-mongering and scare tactics out there. If the governor has any problems with any of the 10 bills we passed that he thinks will truly adversely affect the health, welfare, or the public safety of all Missourians, we're here. I'm here tomorrow. I can be here the next day. I'm happy to go in and fix any of the 10 bills that were problematic. If the governor does not call us into a special session, I'll just pretty much presume all 10 of those bills were actually absolutely fine when they were passed during the regular session.